Ladies, have you ever been in a relationship where something just feels off? You just can't put your finger on it. There wasn't anything in particular that was done that causes you to feel this way, but there's just something about your man that you just don't 100% trust. That there's something that doesn't sit right with you. It could be that sometimes you might question if he's telling you 100% truthfulness, or that he's leaving some details out about something that he shared with you, or even something that you asked him. Maybe his response, you feel like maybe had more to it that he didn't share. These are the types of things that cause us women to start to feel like we can't fully trust the man that we're involved with. It could be our concern that maybe we have this feeling like they could be potentially flirting or acting in a way with other women that we might not be comfortable with, or we might deem as disrespectful to us. I want to share with you that I can totally relate, because I've had that happen multiple times in my relationships. And I know for sure, looking back, that there are some of the relationships that there really was cause for that. I think it was my gut instinct that I knew that there were things going on, or that this man didn't really have the same values as I do when it comes to being in a committed relationship. And then there are other times where I realized that it was all me. It was all me, totally fabricating these stories in my mind. And this is what I'm here to talk to you about. How do you know if it's real, if there is something to be concerned about with the guy that we're with, or whether it's something that is really within ourselves that needs to be addressed, that we need to do some deep digging and discovering as to what part of ourselves doesn't feel worthy or doesn't feel valuable and questions our worth and wonders whenever we see our man even having a conversation with another woman, if that thought occurs to us, like, oh, I wonder if he has interest in her, or I wonder if there's something more going on, if there's more flirtation going on. These are the types of thoughts that I know used to drive me, and it was not real. It was just my own programming of not feeling valuable, or not owning my worth, and not really loving myself. I was viewing myself through this dim lens that then caused me to be insecure and to feel threatened whenever a man that I was with was having any kind of conversation with another woman. And so I want to address this because there are definitely two very different roots of what causes us to feel that way. One is if the guy that we're involved in really isn't trustworthy, or doesn't have the same beliefs about what is or is not appropriate when in a relationship regarding their behavior with other women. When that is the case, we have to ask ourselves whether it's something within myself, whether it's something that I really just need to get clear about, whether I really do feel worthy and deserving of having true love and being enough so that I don't feel threatened if any woman comes into the room, because I know that I'm enough. And that's one part that was missing for me. And then that is also the reason why I was attracting some men who really didn't have the same values and weren't really trustworthy, because those same men are men that I didn't feel safe in sharing my truth, in just being totally authentic and saying, I'm really not feeling comfortable about something, and we need to talk about this. So this way I can share my values about when you're in a committed relationship, what's respectful to the other person and what isn't. Because of course, the same thing applies. If I feel that it's not respectful to be flirting with someone else, or even, let's just say, connecting with an ex, and continuing to keep up this communication with an ex-partner. And that's not to say that that's never okay, because of course each situation is its own, but as a whole, reaching out and connecting with someone who you used to date and there wasn't any other friendship other than dating, and now reaching out and starting to form another dialogue with this person when you're already involved in a committed relationship, to me, that's not something that is acceptable. And it's not something that I would personally ever do. I would hold myself to the same level of integrity as I'm sharing with you that I feel that is appropriate or not appropriate. And again, it's all about the two people who are involved together. Don't take what I say as being like this is the right way to be, because this is just based upon my own personal beliefs and feelings about it. But it's totally up to each couple. So if there's two people in a relationship and they both feel the same way, that it's okay to be flirty with the opposite sex or the same sex, depending on, what your sexual orientation is, but then it's okay. If it doesn't cause a problem in the relationship and they're both good with it, have at it. But personally, I don't feel that way. I personally don't flirt with other men when I'm in a relationship. And if I see my partner doing something like that, or if it's happening and I'm not aware of it, like let's say I'm in a relationship with someone and they're on Facebook or Instagram messaging or chatting up other women, regardless of whether they were, especially if they were in a relationship with them before, but even if they weren't, to me, that's still inappropriate, and I wouldn't be able to trust them. And that would make me feel like this is not aligned for me because I wouldn't feel safe in the relationship. That's not aligned with the kind of relationship that I want and the type of man that I want. It's important that we have the same values and that we can speak freely and truthfully without fear of being unsafe, just by sharing your truth. Because I've also been in relationships where as soon as I would share my truth about something, if something bothered me, then I would hear from the other person words that signified the potential ending of their relationship, like they were threatening words. So I definitely didn't feel safe then sharing my truth. And then you have the other scenario where the person isn't doing anything wrong at all, according to your own values, but you still have those thoughts coming up or those fears or those anxiety. If he goes out with his buddies, you're imagining him like picking up women or flirting, even though he's not really doing that, or he doesn't given any reason to believe that that's happening, then that's within you. That's within something that needs to be addressed within you. So both scenarios are still things going on within you that needs to be addressed. This is your own work to do. That's so vital so that you don't continue to be dictated by these scenarios that your mind feeds you and cause you to feel worried or anxious or fearful when there really might not be anything to be worried about. He might be completely head over heels in love with you and only have you on his mind, but for some reason, there's still some fears coming up that maybe he could be interested in someone else. That's something within you. So I invite you, in either of those two scenarios, I invite you to join my self-love challenge, because that's why I'm hosting it. There are so many different ways that we can suffer, that we are suffering in our life, and that we're not being our highest version of ourselves, our most authentic, our most courageous, our most confident and knowing our worth version of ourselves, our most loving, self-loving version of ourselves, because we have to do this inner work in order to discover what's keeping us from being that, what's keeping us from knowing our value. What is causing us to continue to judge ourselves constantly? And that's what most women, men too, but I think even more women tend to judge themselves and compare ourselves to others, and none of that is serving you. So this self-love challenge is here for you if you can resonate with any of what I just shared with you. And I'm going to post the link below this video. so that you can join. So it starts on Monday, October 20th, and goes through October 26th. And every day I'm going to be posting something in our community. We're going to be doing some meditation, some breath work. We're going to be doing some journaling and exercises. And overall, it's going to be a journey in itself. So by the end of those 7 days, you are going to have a totally new self-image, and you're going to love yourself even more, so that you will no longer be dictated by the fear, by the worries of someone who doesn't really love herself and know her worth. So if this sounds like it's something that would benefit you, I invite you to join. And if so, I look forward to seeing you and connecting with you there. Mwah.